So Philip, can you tell me, what is an IVA?
Well, let's start by saying what it actually stands for. It is an individual voluntary arrangement, and it is the right choice for those people who want to take control of their situation, dealing with their credit card debts and avoiding bankruptcy. There's three crucial elements to it. You get to choose the insolvency practitioner that you feel comfortable with and that you're prepared to work with over a period of time. The insolvency practitioner will be one who is used to dealing with these credit cards and banks on a day-by-day basis and knows what they're looking for, and also comes up with a solution that you can afford to pay over the duration of the IVA. And finally, it is a way that you can avoid bankruptcy, avoid the stigma that's associated with it and the publicity that can be damaging to your future prospects.
How do I know it's the right choice for me?
It will be different things for different people. That's why it's absolutely essential that you sit down with either myself or a member of my team and actually go through your personal circumstances, your assets, your liabilities, your income, your expenditure, to find out what you can afford and to see whether that will match the requirements of creditors.
So is it just for credit card debt?
No, it can be for all unsecured debts. And when I say unsecured, I mean we don't include in the IVA proposal your secured debts, the mortgage on your house, the hire purchase on your vehicle. There are one or two other creditors categories that are also exempt, like you cannot include criminal charges, like your car parking fine, matrimonial settlements, and certain categories of student loans cannot form part of the IVA. But the vast bulk of your IVA creditors, unsecured creditors, credit card debts, bank loans, overdrafts, can be included.
So let me just be clear, if I own my own house, my house is safe?
Your house is safe is part of your proposal that you will deal with that asset in the appropriate way. That means to say you'll look at the equity in the property, and that will be brought into the voluntary arrangement sometime during the course of the voluntary arrangement period.
So Philip, how does an IVA work in practice?
Well, first and foremost, as I said earlier, there is this need to sit down with the insolvency practitioner and talk through your affairs and collate a vast amount of information that is necessary. Myself and my team are used to going through this, so it is not an onerous exercise. It can be done fairly speedily. Armed with that information, we come up with a proposal that we are going to put to the creditors. You will sign it to show that you have understood what you're embarking upon. It is then lodged at the county court and a creditors meeting is convened. Now that creditors meeting takes place usually in one of my offices, and creditors don't turn up. They merely vote by proxy, i.e. a paperwork exercise. They write in saying whether or not they agree with the proposal that we together have put forward to them. And for your arrangement to be approved, 75% in value of your creditors have to say yes. Now let's be quite clear about that. It's 75% in value of your creditors who bother to vote. So if, for instance, the only creditor to vote was a mail order catalogue for £400 and they said yes, if they're the only ones voting, that is sufficient to bind all the other creditors in together, and they're bound by it as much as you are. You probably have been dealing with your debts now over many months, over years, juggling the balls in the air. And when you've made one set of creditors happy, the others are unhappy, you sort those out and the others are unhappy. But remember, the voluntary arrangement binds everybody in, and they're bound by it as much as you are.
What if my circumstances change once I've signed up to an IVA? Say I lose my job, for example. What happens then?
Whilst we make the voluntary arrangement rigid in its form, we do actually have an additional clause, what we call a variation clause, for just such a situation. Okay, if there is a small problem, you have a difficult month, you communicate with my office, we don't fail it immediately, you miss one monthly payment and you catch up next month. But if it is more crucial, like a job loss, illness, whatever, then we have the power to go back to the creditors and ask that we have a 6-month payment holiday while you find another job, tack the end of the 6 months onto the end of the 5 years, and creditors would normally vote in favour. Sometimes it could be that you find your lost great aunt Ethel and she's got a spare £15,000, and we go to creditors and say, will you accept this £15,000 in full and final settlement, in which case the IVA could be brought to an end much earlier.
And how much will it cost me? How much will an IVA cost?
It doesn't cost you directly, because the insolvency practitioner's fees come out of your contributions into the arrangement. So when you set off down the IVA road with your set monthly payments over typically a 5-year period, that is what you pay, and the insolvency practitioner's fees come out of it.
So Philip, there are other IVA products out in the marketplace. What's the difference between those IVAs and the debt lifeboat IVA?
The debt lifeboat approach is basically, it's a well-experienced team. It is not something that has been formed in the last year or two. 3 members of my staff have been with me for well over 20 years, and we work together. We do have a real passion for what IVAs are meant for. That is to help people to avoid bankruptcy. And we work together with you closely to provide the right solution for yourself and the creditors as a balanced view to sorting out your problems. So in essence, we are there to assist you in getting control of your financial situation, restoring your self-respect and allowing you to have a decent night's sleep.